What's up, y'all? I'm back at it again. Hope y'all having a good day. Hope y'all had a good weekend. I just want to talk about a random topic, right? And this actually happened twice this past year in St. Louis. There were two fast food workers that have been murdered in the past year. One was a Steak and Shake worker. It was a woman. She was 32 years old, and I think she was murdered because she got, because she forgot tater tots in the order or something like that. It was over something small, like some tater tots or some French fries or something like that, and she was just cold-blooded murdered because of it. Another incident recently just took place. A 28-year-old man, delivery driver, he was delivering for a Domino's that I actually used to deliver for, and I worked for this Domino's probably about like a couple days. It was just so ghetto there. I didn't make no money, no tip money or none of that, especially. I'm gonna say this: if you're a delivery driver in St. Louis, I would go to the more affluent areas.
Shoulder reported ahead.
Because that's where you're going to make all your money at. That's where you're going to make all the tip money at. Going in the more affluent areas. But like somewhere like Normandy, like I said, I worked there 2 days. It was ghetto. The managers didn't really care about what was going on. And this was years ago. I don't know how it is there now, but someone was just murdered there. But the managers, they didn't really want to answer the phone. They was smoking inside the store. You go and do the deliveries, and you pull up. You got a million kids outside, pizza man, and then you get, say the order is like $18 and some change, and then they give you a 20 or whatever, and they looking at you like, hey, I want my change back. You ain't getting no tip. But all jokes aside, that's tragic. And this man, the man who got unalived, I think he was an educator. He had a bright future ahead of him, and probably even the lady. I don't know too much information about the lady that was unalived, but these people were going to work, getting their money, trying to make a living, trying to do things the right way. And that's why I don't have no issue with fast food employees being paid more. I don't have no issues with fast food employees getting paid $20 an hour. I don't have no issue with that because of all the stuff they had to go through. You got to deal with customers' attitude. You have to deal with dangerous situations, possibly being robbed, and all type of stuff. Being understaffed, doing double the work. So I don't mind fast food employees being paid more because of all the stuff they had to go through. That, to me, I never really worked fast food. I worked in restaurants, but working in fast food seems mentally draining. Now, I will also say this: if fast food employees do get paid more, I want an exceptional job to be done, right? I want my food hot all the time. I want my food on point. If an order is messed up, I don't have no issue with that. Just please fix my order without no hassle, no issues, and then we won't have no problem. I'm not going to blow my lid over a messed up order because I know stuff happens sometimes. But now, if if I buy food and the food is just cold and soggy and just everything is just bad, and it look like you just got some food that been sitting out all day and then you put it in my bag, or you take somebody else's bun and then you take an old dried up burger patty and put it on my bun, then we gonna have issues. And I've been dealing with that a lot. That's why I don't go to fast food as often as I usually do, as I used to. You know, and I cook at home a lot anyways. You know, I cook at home. I go get some groceries, and I try to cook at home. But some days, you know, I just be so busy. I be getting back so late at night that I can't even do that. So, you know, I might just go pick up, you know, a burger or something, or maybe go to one of the chicken spots. I don't eat McDonald's because McDonald's, you know, the only thing I eat from McDonald's is probably their fries and snack wraps. But I feel like if a lot of these employees was to get paid, you know, something livable and maybe some decent benefits, and maybe if you have, you know, maybe you can have fewer employees or whatever, but you know, they're doing a top-notch job. You know, they're giving good customer service. They're trying their best. They're doing their job. You know, I feel like they should get paid a little more, especially, you know, in these dangerous spots where they can possibly lose their life. A lot of times it ain't even worth it to work at these fast food places no more. It ain't, for the pay and what you got to deal with the customers. You're better off just working a warehouse job, because I can say this: these fast food restaurants, they can work you just as much as a warehouse can. It's not just flipping burgers. You know, you got to be able to do multiple jobs at one time, not just putting fries in the fry thing. You know, if you're short staffed, you gotta take orders, you gotta be the cook, you gotta clean, you gotta do 50 million things at one time. So I would say I don't have no issue with that, you know, especially with the cost of living. Now, these fast food jobs are jobs, you know, mainly like teenagers. But I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with older adults working fast food, because a lot of times these teenagers and these younger people, you know, they don't really have no pride in their job. They don't really care like that. They the ones who be messing up the orders. You know, the older people, you know, probably in the late 20s, 30s, or maybe even 40s. You know, they take more pride in their job, and they have better customer service, and they at least try to make sure the food is good. So I say there needs to be a balance, you know. You need to have older and younger people there, because the younger employees need some type of guidance. They need some type of structure from an older employee. But you know, it needs to be more things in line to protect these workers that's out here working in dangerous neighborhoods, dangerous communities. I mean, it's dangerous out here, especially like Normandy. You doing delivery driving. Now, I don't know if this man was specifically targeted. You know, it seemed like he had a bright future ahead of him. He was a teacher's aide, so, or was it just like a robbery gone wrong or something? But condolences to both of those families. We gotta do better. We killing our own people over some fast food. You know, you're not gonna get no money out of it. You know, you killing people over tater tots. You willing to spend the rest of your life in prison over a wrong order for some tater tots, some French fries. or maybe you're trying to rob the pizza man. And I'm gonna tell you this: when you doing any type of delivery, they don't keep that much cash on them. So what? You're trying to get maybe about like 20, 40 bucks at the most. They don't keep a lot of cash on them like that. You know, because of robberies, because of that type of reason. You know, they do cash drop-offs. So you're not going to make no money trying to rob a pizza man. It's just pure stupidity and ignorance, you know. And I'm big on talk about, you know, stuff that happens outside of our community, but we got to talk about stuff like this that happens inside of our community as well, because it's stupid. People losing their life over fast food. People risking their lives over a 15 an hour job. I don't know what they pay no more. It's been a minute since I worked there, you know. But people losing their life over what? 15 an hour, maybe 17 an hour. Some places maybe 20 an hour. What? It ain't worth it. It really ain't. But yeah, we gotta do better. That's why I say, and this is as a person who work in the trades, I don't have no issue with fast food workers getting paid more, as long as they doing their job right and they putting their best foot forward. Because some of the workers do be rude, some of them don't care, but at the same time, a lot of that is because they're not getting paid enough, or maybe they just like that, and maybe the owner of that establishment need to go do something about those workers and make sure those workers are on their job as well. But that's all I wanted to say. Y'all stay safe out there. Be careful. If you is working fast food, I say let that be like a stepping stone job, especially if you're working in a bad community. You know, let that be like a stepping stone job, unless you like a manager or something. You know, a job is a job. I'm not job shaming or anything, but you know, it's just too dangerous out here, and the reward to risk ratio is just not worth it. So that's all I gotta say. Y'all stay safe out here, especially if you're a fast food worker. Y'all be cool. Peace.